We know that culture responsive teaching allows teachers to honor the lived experiences, the cultures, traditions, and the backgrounds of each of their students. When students can connect to and compare and contrast key ideas discovered during reading, they're more apt to engage in meaningful discourse, generate questions, analyze, and synthesize ideas presented. Thus, engaging in literacy tasks focused on multicultural texts helps students shape their perspectives of a convoluted society, thereby leading to an appreciation of diverse people, places, things, and ideas. This is our why. And there are 8 competencies we're going to look at for culturally responsive teaching. So, suggestions from my classroom, Space 122. We know that in our case right now with the pandemic, survival is a top priority. So you have to maximize every opportunity that you get with students to in their families to engage them in ways that leave them with an understanding that shifts beyond surface learning to transference. It just can't be again about reading and writing. We know that Dr. Golden Muhammad's framework that speaks of cultivating students is genius. That is exactly what we do in Space 122, which is my classroom. In this space, all students thrive. All students are valued, and they understand that there's a benefit to their unique natures. No one can be you other than you, and it's their uniqueness that is appreciated, celebrated, and thus they want to come into the room and come into that space and learn and explore because they feel wholly accepted and respected by me as the teacher. So the first thing I had to do in thinking about culturally responsive teaching was to address my own implicit bias. And this is the first prong, the first level of Dr. Muhammad's historically responsibility framework for teaching and learning, which is identity. You have to be able to define who you are and make sense of your values and your beliefs. And we know that, our mainstream education was not designed to give every student, all students, opportunity, access, as well as visibility. So in thinking about my own cultural iceberg, it was when I began to address my own iceberg that I really learned how to design instruction that provided students with windows and mirrors of opportunity to not only see themselves in text and through text and characters, but also to look at other words, other words and people. We have to help students think about their own truths, and this sets them up for opportunities to ignite change in their homes, their communities, their cities, their states, and the world. And doing this, it also could possibly help, guess what, break the prison to school pipeline. So, in doing that and addressing your own iceberg, you learn how to build and sustain relationships with your students and not just them, but also their parents. And so, culture responsive reading instruction bridges a gap between the school and the world of the students. All of us have a bag. We have baggage. Some of us have a tote bag, some have a duffel bag, some have a purse, some have a large purse, a small purse. Some of us have a train behind us. So all of what we bring to our lived experiences and lives transfers to how we learn, how we perceive learning as well. So it's important to get to know your students. You have to Maslow before you bloom. So once you've done that, you can conduct an audit of curriculum and instruction resources in which you're looking at your curriculum resources. The texts that are listed on my pacing guide, do these texts tend to magnify misconceptions and magnify stereotypes? If they do, how can I layer that text to give students a different lens in which to view this situation or the context on discussion at the particular time? So make sure you do an audit of your curriculum instruction resources. Next, we're going to look at showcasing mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. We know that Dr. Reuben Bishop talks about these windows and mirrors and sliding glass doors. And we know that reading has to become a means of self-affirmation, and readers often seek their mirrors in books. So if we never give students a chance to see themselves and their communities and their experiences, this is one of the reasons why some kids hate, quote me, reading. It's because they're reading about people and experience they have no attachment to. So of course, I may never go to Pompeii, but I can read about it, I can experience it. What's similar to Pompeii? We have students in my school they think McDonald's is fine dining. So how can I help them? If there's a character, I'm reading a book and this character is going to fine dining and they're doing these museum tours, my students may not understand the character's lifestyle, but I can layer that text that shows the kids how to peel back a layer. This character lives this way, it looks this way in this setting, but this, the key ideas and concepts and themes remain the same. Self-exploration. So we know that mirrors and windows are important. It's really a very good metaphor to think about how we look at our text. Does my instruction give kids a mirror to see themselves? Does it give them a window to see themselves and others, and maybe how others may perceive them? And does it give them sliding glass doors? So we know that in this particular case, and thinking about our windows allow us to share multiple spaces to see beyond limitations. Our mirrors allow us to examine ourselves, and it's those beautiful sliding glass doors, however that may be structured, they're the gateway to realizing the beauty of blurred lines, diversity in our own indifference, the power of a mirror, a window, and a sliding glass door. So important. So in thinking about that, once you're thinking audit and you're looking at your mirrors and windows and sliding glass doors, think about your classroom library. Is it inclusive? Is it multicultural? How am I going to ensure that when my students go to select a book to read, whether it's digital or in print, it's something where they can see themselves through a mirror, a window, or a sliding glass door. I write grants a lot of times on the shoes, a great place to go for books to increase your library. NCTE, we know we used to go into vendors and getting the I call it advanced readers copies, the arts. So there are ways you can build your library and not break the bank. But it is an investment that will reap dividends for you later on. Also, one thing I do that is it's a non-negotiable in my classes, I layer text. For example, we did medicine bag. We do it every year in our unit one text. This with growing pains and rites of passage. But in doing that, it's a Native American background story. It's Native American context. A lot of my kids, were thinking about, the guns and roses, the Indians on the horse, you got the cowboys. So how do I help them see beyond stereotypes? I want them to look at some videos that show Indian culture. I want them to see an actual medicine bag. I want to engage them in the culture, help them learn to appreciate that medicine bag, which may also be the same as in African American community. Our grandmothers have these big old huge Bibles, and there's everyone's birthday, their baptism date. Everything is put in that family Bible, so it's similar to that. So I layer that text with us reading House on Mango Street, Amy Tan's Fish Cheeks, Tanisha Coates, Between the World and Me, and even The Skin I'm In and Not My Hair. Skin I'm In is a book, Not My Hair is a song. Just look at those particular things that we can do to help kids see that we can peel back those layers and we can look at this character and who they are from different lenses. So, just read with a lens. So we know that Dr. Muhammad reminds us that our text should drive cognitive goals as well as critical analysis and social cultural goals. We have to create an environment that affords students the opportunity to shape their own ideas through acts of literacy. Literacy is activism all day long. And in doing that and giving students layers and providing a multicultural, inclusive library and looking at providing mirrors, windows, and sliding doors and building relationships with them, we also, all of these things equate to ensuring that our students have choice and voice. Dr. Muhammad says it best in her book, Cultivating Genius. Literary character is the person, academic characteristics a person develops as a result of their engagement in literary pursuits. I have a former student, Jaden, who's also now a recording artist, and he writes songs. He has a clothing line. He does speeches and motivational speaking. But he says it best in his reflection. Writing is a relationship, and he says a lot of times that we have to think about ways we can use our own pen to redefine how we're perceived. So at your convenience, read this blurb. These are his exact words. He's 17 years old, and this is how he perceives reading. In order for him to get to this point, to write a song in class with me that was so transparent and so candid and real and personal for him, he had to feel comfortable. He had to know that it is okay to, inquire about, user spirits. This is from a child, their perceptions of how they perceive the world are so different from ours, but yet so powerful. And he says, most important, as a writer, I have learned how to be unfiltered, how to understand that. And he says we have to sometimes, there's going to be a shift coming. So this is a student, is sharing with us how he perceives writing and his experiences in class with me. So just take a look at that when you get a chance. And this is just a couple of videos I have of some students who are reading their work. And I just want you to hear him for just a moment. This student talks about, he said people mock us, but they don't understand us. And he wrote this. And what he said goes back to the importance of giving kids mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. Give them a chance to see themselves, their lived experiences. And then that allows them to activate their voice. This is from a student, little excerpt right quick. What we read the book Between the World and Me. That's just an excerpt. His voice was empowered and it was activated through reading a book Between the World and Me. How many of our young black boys are going home to mothers and there's no father present? So we have to expose them and give them opportunities to see the world beyond their lived experiences, but also to appreciate everything about their lived experiences. This is the beauty of developing culturally responsive literature. So our final thoughts. Literacy is activism all day long. It is an act. It requires an act. Culturally responsive teaching rests on intentionally intersecting motivation, communication, culture, and respect. Maya Angelou says it best. People will forget what you say, they will forget what you do, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Help our students understand the power of literacy and how that is an act in itself. It's an act. Here's information about me. And I leave you all with this statement I always say. It is the brokenness of our youth who face insurmountable challenges with individuality, acceptance, and what seems but like a vision that we as educators have the opportunity to power their learning through educational system that helps them form bridges and pathways to understanding. When our students believe in their ability, not your ability, not mom's, not dad's, not but their own ability, their own genius, optimal performance is the only natural byproduct. Thank you so much for my time. Here are the references, and I hope that as you forge forward and move forward, you will understand the power of culturally responsive teaching through this a snapshot of Space 122. Enjoy your conference time and be wonderfully blessed.